it's time for...
Welcome on into another edition of Bringing the Heat with Trey Lyle. I am the aforementioned Trey Lyle. And before we begin, I want to shout out our sponsor of this podcast, the Pit Stop Diecast. The Pit Stop Diecast is proud to sponsor Bringing the Heat. The Pit Stop has proudly shipped cars to 48 states and achieved the impressive milestone of selling 20,000 items within just 6 months. The goal is simple. Keep the shelves stocked with diecasts you actually want. Ship them out fast and treat every customer like part of the racing family. Make the Pit Stop Diecast your go-to spot for every car in your collection. You can also get involved with their live shows on Whatnot, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. www.whatnot.com/user/the pit stop/shows. Thanks so much to our sponsor, the Pit Stop Diecast. All right, welcome on in to Bringing the Heat. As mentioned, I am Trey Lyle. Great episode, final episode of 2025 for you. We have a great one for you as Michael Massie interviewed Noah Gragson a few weeks ago and had a great conversation with the driver of the number 4 for FRM. So that conversation comes to you, and then we'll dive into championship weekend. Kayla will join me for that, plus the latest happenings in the lawsuit. Some interesting developments in the Dodge side of things. In the truck series, what possibly could happen there, latest rumors there. Plus, we will talk a little bit about Denny Hamlin and his heartbreak when it comes to the championship. But first, let's head to that great conversation that my man Michael Massie had with Noah Gragson.
Now, it's time for...
What a way to prepare for the playoffs. They start next week at Texas. Noah Gragson, third win in a row.
And about to shotgun a beer with the fans here. Junior Motorsports, in the history of the organization, has never had a driver win 3 races in a row until tonight. Noah Gragson does it 3 in a row, winning here at Bristol.
To go into the inferno with Trey.
What's going on, everybody? Michael Massie here, frontstretch.com. And I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Noah Gragson. How you doing today, Noah?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Nice, wonderful day here in Martinsville. Beautiful day. A little chilly. Getting a little chilly.
Cold. That's why I got the overalls on, you know.
Yeah,
True Timber. Shout out True Timber. I'm warm.
Yeah, man. This thing's, look, I mean, I almost didn't see you, you know. I came up, I was like, where's Noah at? But just blend in perfectly.
That's a common theme with True Timber. You can't even see it, so that's good.
Exactly. But, Noah, so the first thing I wanted to ask you about is I saw this clip on your Instagram of you kicking, I believe it was a 40-yard field goal. Okay.
Yeah, it was 43 yards,
okay.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
I said it was 50, but they tried to tell me it was 50 yards. But that's, if the ball's at the 43-yard line, or the 33-yard line, you know, when they're snapping it, then it's another 7 yards to when they kick. Yeah, but we were just kicking from the 33, so it's 43 yards.
Okay, 43. Okay,
Barefoot.
That's pretty good. I saw some college kickers missing 43-yard-ish kicks last night. So, do you have a history of, like, kicking anything, and when are the Raiders going to sign you?
No, I never have kicked a field goal before, so that was kind of cool to try it. And, it was barefoot into the wind, which was super cool. So I'd like to try it some more, maybe. I still have 4 years of eligibility left in college, so might have to try one day and maybe go out for Vanderbilt or another cool school.
For sure, yeah. I'm all for it. Get the Noah Gragson jersey and be rocking it. The other thing, you recently went undercover at a SMX event, and first off, what inspired that idea? Where'd that idea come from?
I just seen like other guys do it. Thought it's always pretty funny. I got a lot of buddies in the dirt bike world, and they're all in the pits there in Charlotte. And thought, hey man, wouldn't it be funny to see if I can, you know, as a driver, people are always asking for stuff, and I know the mechanics and the riders, people are always asking them for stuff, and I thought, man, how can I just be a pain to these guys? And so went out there and was asking for, you know, just free stuff, and when they wouldn't give me free stuff, I'd giving attitude. So it made for a pretty funny video. I got a lot of good friends with Brent Duff and Jace Dungy, and his name's really Jade, but I called him Jace in the video. But yeah, Jade and Duff and a couple other guys. Aaron Plessinger. I was calling him Aaron Pellinger in the video. Just butchering their name. When I take a selfie, a lot of fans don't really know how to take selfies, so they'll take their camera out and then they'll be like, they'll have it on regular mode. And so they'll be like, why can't we see ourselves right now? And I'm like, oh, man, it's just a disaster. So, yeah, selfies for some people are really challenging. So I took a very challenging selfie with Jade and or Jace, however you want to call him. And, yeah, it was a good time.
It felt like a lot of that was inspired by maybe some fan. Have people butchered your names?
Oh, yeah, they call me the wrong person. Definitely a lot of self-experience, too, on people calling me the wrong guy or them, not knowing how to take selfies. But, I'm grateful for their, passion and them showing up and being fans of the sport and fans of us drivers. It means a lot. So we had a little bit of fun with it, and, it's all in good fun.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you've done this stuff. I saw you do the cornhole tournament earlier this year. When people say that NASCAR drivers these days are boring, like, how does that make you feel when you're doing all this fun stuff outside of it?
Yeah, I mean, we get to do some really cool stuff. We went to a hockey game in Nashville. We were kicking. So we played a charity golf tournament there for Speedway Children's Charities. And then the next day we went to the Titan Stadium. Well, we went out to the track, did some pace car rides out there. So drove on a NASCAR track, kicked field goals at the Titan Stadium, got a tour of the locker room, everything. Went over to Vanderbilt 15 minutes later, kicking field goals on that field. Then we're shooting half-court shots in the basketball gym there where they play basketball. Got to watch the practices for men's and women's practice, basketball. Met all the players, went through the locker room. I mean, all that stuff is just a wild day. And then to cap it all off, we went to the Nashville Predators game that night, the NHL game, and saw a couple fights and had a lot of fun. So it was an action-packed day, and it was a good time with Zane and Ricky, and we had a lot of fun. Ricky's not an athlete, by the way. He couldn't. I made a half-court shot before him. He thinks he's a better athlete than me, which he's not. But that doesn't really matter here. The thing that matters is that the racers are a lot of fun, and we get to do some pretty cool stuff. And like you mentioned, the cornhole event, I love those one-on-one interactions. When we're in the car, we have the helmet on. The only thing you can really see is the car going around the track and listen to the radio. I don't really talk a whole lot on the radio, but when I'm in those environments where I'm mic'd up, I can have a lot of fun. I really enjoy those moments.
Yeah, for sure. If anyone calls you boring, I don't know what they're talking about. But any tips you learned from watching those fights on the ice there?
Not really. Number 47 got rocked. It's probably a common theme with the number, because Ricky. But I didn't learn too much.
Okay. So any more pranks planned in the future? Any undercover stuff that you're working on? I guess you can't spill the bag.
No, I don't really. They're all kind of see the pants, just on the fly type deals.
Okay. I guess we should talk a little racing. I don't know if you want to talk racing. Just how would you evaluate this first season at Front Row Motorsports?
I think we've had pretty fast cars. We've had some good speed throughout the races. Just been in the worst possible places. When there's wrecks, we've been right around those wrecks. It doesn't matter if we're leading at Talladega like this past weekend and get hit from behind in the corner or in wreck, or if we are running 8th at Dover and get wrecked by the 54. We've just been collected in so many wrecks, and it's been tough. There's been a lot of people talking trash online about how bad we are, but we're really, if you're in the trenches with us and you look at how we run throughout a race, I know the result is the main thing that matters, so those people aren't completely wrong, but we have been in the wrong place at the right time in so many races this year, have run really good. I think that's kind of the part that people don't see, which I don't know if they totally should see that, because the results the only thing that ultimately matters. But we got to do a better job at, just staying out of the messes. It's tough because your weekends, they compound. You have a bad race, you go to the next weekend, you go out early in qualifying, you qualify bad, you have to drive through the pack, and you're vulnerable at that point. So it makes it challenging. It's been a tough year as far as just trying to go week in, week out of just staying out of the messes. I've never had a career like this or a year in my career like this in my life. In 2023, I wrecked a lot, but that was on my own. I was over driving the car. This year just feels different. It's just like we're in the wrong place at the right time. So our cars are fast. I think that's what keeps our confidence and our motivation up week in and week out, is we know we can go run, in the top 15, top 10 on any given week on speed for the most part. I'd say about 75% of the tracks this year we've had really good speed. It just the results haven't been there, just getting collected in these wrecks, and it definitely sucks. But we got 2 more opportunities. We got Martinsville, we got Phoenix. Get a little bit of a break, and then we'll hit it hard again. But we're just always looking for the next opportunity, and that for us right now is Martinsville this weekend.
And you're working hard. You guys are working hard to come back together next year. Run it back next year, right?
Yeah, we're gonna run it back for sure.
All right, okay. And you mentioned the off season. You got any off season plans? What's a good way to reset?
Well, my mom asked if I would go on this trip with her down to Antarctica on a trip. So I'm going with her down to Antarctica, and we're taking a National Geographic cruise down there and stuff. So I was like, man, that'd be super cool. And so we'll go. It's a once-in-a-lifetime trip, but it basically takes out my entire December. It's from the 12th to the 29th. So the off season is going to be pretty short. I really only have about 30 days of really enjoying my time back at home in Las Vegas and seeing my buddies and going to do what I want to do. I'm going to race a snowball derby down in Pensacola for Red Jones Racing and drive the Port City's number 30 car. So Port City race cars, they've been great. It's been fun learning that new avenue of business and the chassis side of things, and just being a partner in that company is a lot of fun. Big shout out to Terry Jones and Gary Crooks and Mark Rett and Greg Zipadelli. We kind of formed a little bit of a team to grow Port City race cars and grow super late model racing. It's important to me, so go down to the Derby and run that race and ultimately try to win. It's a lot of fun going down there, but that race is very near and dear to my heart. So can't thank Terry Jones enough for his vision, and he's just a fun having guy that I'm grateful to have in my corner.
Yeah, definitely one of the best short track events all year for sure. Definitely want to tune into that. Antarctica, are you gonna try to ride a polar bear or say pet one or anything?
I don't know. If I see one, I'd probably be scared of it. But penguins, I don't know what to really expect. The only thing they've told me is the Drake Passage, I think is what it's called, is really, really rough. We go off the tip of Chile, and it's really, really rough sometimes. So hoping for a calm day when we go through there, but you never know.
Well, I wish you the best on that trip. Hope it, nice, safe trip, fun trip. So get back here in one piece. The other thing I wanted to ask you about, are you still doing? I know it's not Zen. It's another company that you're doing. Are you still popping those while you drive?
I got them in my shorts right here. Let me pull them out. Lucy Breakers.
Lucy Breakers.
Yeah, these things are really good.
Popping one.
I love them.
There you go. I remember you talking me through. I didn't really understand at the time. You're switching them out while you're racing. How are you doing that with a helmet on?
Just under caution. I got a door pouch over here, and I got the can in there, and then under caution, I'll put my knee on the steering wheel and grab it and open it up and pull the old one out, flick it out the window, and then the new one I'll, get up under my helmet and put on my tongue, and then I can bite it and move it around in my gum. Okay.
That's an interesting skill set there.
It is what it is.
Yeah. And then lastly, I'll send you out with this one. We're here in Martinsville. I always think
Zero.
of
Are you gonna ask me how many hot dogs am I gonna eat?
Nah.
All right, never mind. Sorry, I was premature on the question.
So 0 is the
They
number.
always
okay.
ask about hot dogs here, so.
No. So I'll spin it a different way. When I think one of the things I think of when I think of Martinsville now is your first truck win. Somebody over the wall there.
Over the wall, yeah.
So are we? Is that still a thing that happens at all, or are you incident free for however long?
Well, I've been incident free for about 3 years now.
3
so
years, okay.
the only time I throw up is when I win the race. I don't know. I'm just trying to do it at the end of these races, and my heart rate gets jacked up, and I'm giving it all I can. I forget to breathe, and my heart rate's through the roof, and it only happens when I'm racing for the win. So I don't know why that is, but yeah, I haven't won in 3 years, so it kind of sucks.
That's not a good way not an upbeat way to end the interview, but you've been great for me here today. Thanks so much. One of the best personalities in all of NASCAR, I'd say. NASCAR drivers aren't boring, right?
That's right. Hey, get your mozzarella sticks too. Farm Rich mozzarella sticks. Family owned since 1977. Farm Rich. Make sure you get your mods.
Y'all want to come? You want to come sponsor us too, Farm Rich? We're welcome to have you.
No.
For Noah Gragson, I've been Michael Massie. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.
Thanks so much to Michael Massie. Thanks so much to Noah. Thanks so much to all the folks at FRM. We appreciate their time with us. Appreciate Noah using some of his time during the race weekend for that. Wishing Noah a great offseason. Wish all the drivers a great offseason. But now let's get to what's still hot.
What's still hot? It's time to upgrade you on the latest news in NASCAR.
Time for what's still hot, updating you everything that's going on in NASCAR. Joining me now at Caleb Barnes _ Caleb, hope you're doing well. Glad to have you again on the pod. Good news for us. We only got one more of these. So you wrapped up Stock Car Scoop on Sunday. Got one more of these, and then you can enjoy your off season watching Kentucky basketball. So are you ready to be locked
I've already
in?
started watching Kentucky basketball.
That is true. They've already started, but I'm just
I was
saying.
there for a big poster last night in Rep Arena. That was fun to watch. Colin Chandler.
Shout out to Toby Lawal of Virginia Tech. He had a nice poster in his game. But anyways, and that's back-to-back Virginia Tech references in Front Stretch podcast, as Michael Massie made one during the Happy Hour podcast. So shout out to Michael Massie for that and his great interview. But one of the big things you've done outside of this podcast is write for our website about the lawsuit between FRM and 2311. And big happenings happened yesterday. Probably the biggest outside of the preliminary injunction being denied, being granted, and then being denied. This is maybe the biggest ruling in the case so far before the December 2nd hearing, which I would presume might be a special edition of Bringing the Heat, would be my guess. But that is, of course, the boss man's call, Tom Bowles, there. So come to think of it. But essentially put, he denied the summary judgment, which is important. And most importantly, the Judge Bell, ruled that the court has determined the definition of premier stock car racing is effectively controlled by NASCAR, and the trial will pertain to the control NASCAR has over it, rather than a wider definition that NASCAR believes, including F1 and IndyCar. Essentially put, a big key in this case is that the teams are arguing NASCAR wouldn't let them start another stock car racing series. NASCAR argued, well, you could have gone to F1 or IndyCar, which is not the case in this. Ultimately, Caleb, I think the biggest takeaway from this is, if you want to think in layman's terms, this is a big win for the teams.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of like, I think it's just continuing to show preview, which obviously this has to come down to trial, and that's going to look a lot different with the way you're not necessarily presenting for a judge, but I think this is starting to preview where the teams, I think, have proved a lot of where they feel that they've been wronged. I know a lot was made about the teams losing out on the injunction earlier this year, but like, in the long run, the trial is the main part of all this, and this is a big definition. I was going back to try to find the article because I wrote it that week whenever some of those summary judgments were filed, and the teams were wanting Judge Bell to agree with their definition of premier stock car racing, and as you mentioned, Trey, NASCAR is trying to argue that hey, like there's Formula One, IndyCar, there's even the Cars Tour, but some of the things is that the teams are saying, well, that's not a different type of, or that is a different type. That's not the same type of racing as NASCAR, and so the teams are saying that like NASCAR is all alone in control over specifically stock car racing. I'm trying to. One of the quotes is that the team said that like F1, IndyCar are not substitute purchasers of these specific stock car racing services, meaning that obviously F1 and IndyCar they don't bring in stock cars to race. They have their own division of open wheel cars, and like they even added that NASCAR themselves didn't consider F1 and IndyCar competitors to stock car races, and so that kind of shows the teams can't just leave NASCAR for another series in a more favorable market because NASCAR itself is its own unique market, and so the term for that is showing that there's no other competitors. It's called showing that NASCAR has monopsony power. So there's like a monopoly. You know, you played the games, all the board. You're trying to own everything, and that's also part of this lawsuit is a monopolistic practices. But showing that NASCAR is its own market. It's not the same as F1 and IndyCar. It's its own little corner of the world, and that NASCAR has everything in here. It says NASCAR has monopsony power, and so that's like it still causes an imbalance of power. Mainly, it allows like a singular buyer to create a high barrier entry into the market. So I think that's where you start to look at some of the evidence with like the next gen car and things like that of like NASCAR is the singular buyer. They're the ones with these parts, with these cars, and it's creating maybe a little bit of a you could argue one way or the other because there have been teams that have bought into NASCAR since we've gone to this next gen charter, all that sort of stuff. But then you could also look at and say, like, I mean, there are a lot of teams that if they want to start a NASCAR team, they have to buy all these NASCAR supplied parts instead of being able to go and buy and put together their own teams and parts and pieces and cars and everything else. So a lot of things to try to keep up with. We'll keep bringing you these lawsuit updates. I hope all that makes sense. If not, you can go read our updates and maybe if you see it, it'll make a little bit more sense. I've definitely had to do my fair share of Googling definitions and everything, but yeah, it's a big win for the teams as well, and kind of setting some of these definitions leading up to the trial to kind of help them show like, hey, see, like NASCAR is all in control and we're the ones being wronged here. So yeah.
So typically we don't do rumors for what's still hot, but this is too good of a rumor, and it's going to probably break by the time before we reconvene, so we won't be able to talk about it. But there is a rumor out there that the Gong Show, if you are a fan of Front Stretch Jeopardy, this was actually one of the questions. Roush Racing Driver X, or the Gong Show, which was essentially a reality show that had drivers compete for a race, for a truck ride with Roush Racing back in the day. Well, they're bringing that back, but it's not Roush Racing. It's Colleague Racing in Ram. It appears that some filming will be done at South Boston Speedway amongst short track guys. There's a rumor that Dana White could be hosting it. If you look at the Rams revival, Dana White is part of like the voiceover of their ads, so you can kind of draw a lot of conclusions there. I know it appears Landon Huffman is one of the rumored names amongst a couple of others. What do you think about this, Caleb?
I don't know, because like on one hand, I'm always all for content ideas and everything, but then we're at such like a saturated like there's so much content out there for race fans to consume, and we're just so saturated with all this that like I don't know how far the show would go to necessarily like create new fans or bring old fans back or anything. I'm not sure what their goal is with it. But look, I'm all for trying to get out and showcase driver personalities, and you never know how well something's going to do unless you try it. So hopefully it'll be something fun. But at the same time, I feel like the truck series, especially coming off of this dominant year with Corey Heim, I feel like there's not a ton of eyes on it right now. So maybe this will help get some more eyes on it, or maybe it will kind of be a thing and people will be, in a few more years, it'll be another Front Stretch Jeopardy question and people will be like, oh yeah, that was the thing that happened. But look, I'm all for giving things a shot and seeing if we can get to learn a little bit more about the drivers, because everybody knows that we're looking for that star power right now, and anything you can do to get drivers out of their comfort zone and see them kind of have some fun in their natural setting versus in like a PR controlled environment is, I say, a win.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting to see. Well, we're going to talk about him now. Our own Steven Stump asked him this question during the presser. Denny Hamlin is our focus of the soundbite of the week.
Well, Tony, what angered you at the end of the race? What did you take issue with?
What the hell do you think I was mad about? Dumb little runs us clear down to the infield. He wants to about everybody else, and he's the one that drives like a little. I'm gonna bust his ass.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
And short track races.
It's time for the sound bites of the week.
Steven Stump, FrenchStretch.com. Denny, obviously we don't know what platform we'll have next year, but with, how close, these races are, how close the points are, and how big the stakes are, would it be beneficial to maybe have the final race end at the scheduled distance?
Oh, I don't know. I just, golly, in this moment, I never want to race a car ever again. My fun meter's pegged.
And just where do you go from here? Just the next hour, the next day, the next week?
Yeah, just, I don't know. There's not much, the last couple times I've been doing this, I just either wasn't fast enough or, circumstances. There were some untimely yellows in the last time I did this. But, yeah, I'm not really sure. You just take solace in, everything that we did preparing was right. And the way we guessed was right. And it just didn't work out, which is crazy.
Didn't work out. It's crazy. His fun meter pegged. I do want to also pull in a quote. Another quote. Obviously, Dirty Mo Media mentioned how Action Detrimental is still a TBD on an episode. And I do want to mention how, and I highly recommend going to watch the video. But Denny Hamlin would not commit to racing next season. He needs more time to think about it. If you want to go, Jeff Gluck of The Athletic has the video of those comments, and definitely check that out. But we don't need to readdress the format. We don't need to readdress the finish. I think ultimately my question to you, Caleb, is do we the only drawings are to 2016 and Caleb, I almost said Caleb Barnes, to Carl Edwards.
It was not me.
It was not you. It was Carl Edwards. Do you think this is now? Granted, I think the caution call for Carl was way worse than the caution call for William for here, because it was an actual true caution, just the way it unfolded. And do you think ultimately and maybe this is too bit of a reaction, we've seen the last of Denny Hamlin in the NASCAR Cup Series?
If you said the last of Denny Hamlin overall, I would say no. It would not surprise me if he decided to make some sort of a drastic change or step away or something like that. But I was kind of thinking about that even before the post-race comments of just the way that race was lost and kind of some of the similarities and everything, and just how soul-crushing that is. And I know we also saw it kind of with Connor Zilic on Saturday night, but Connor's got so many years ahead of him. He hasn't even made it to the Cup Series yet. A little bit of a different situation. But yeah, with Denny and just kind of that he's already looking towards the end of his career. And it's such a tough thing too, because you look at those hypotheticals of what it would have been like if it was a full season points and Denny might not have even really been in contention. But at that moment, coming down to the final 10 laps, 5 laps, 4 laps, 3 laps before that caution came out, that championship is attainable. I mean, that's the closest it's got to have looked for Denny Hamlin versus the other years when he maybe made the championship four, but led a few laps, but wasn't the dominant car. I mean, he dominated that race, and like just after that, and realizing that like even if you go to some sort of playoff with a 4-race final round, or even if you have a 36 race round, there's still so many variables and and so many unknowns that in a 36 race season, if you still have a close race, a close championship battle at the end, there could be a caution that comes out, and we still have these overtime rules, and it could still screw you out of a championship, even if you have a near perfect season in a 36 race format. So, I think a lot of these comments, I know a lot of people are reading into everything just immediately after the championship. And I think Denny, like, they're going to record this podcast and get it done. It might take a week or two, honestly, if I had to bet, because, I mean, they're traveling back from Phoenix, and I think he still probably does want to sit on some of those comments a little bit longer, because he could get out. He could say some really hurtful things. He could say some really down things and then come to regret it a little bit later. So it wouldn't surprise me if that podcast is a little bit later than even, I know people were expecting it to come out midweek. It could be even later than that. And the difference between Denny is he's got that ownership stake in the race team. And I think that's what's going to keep him around, whether he steps away from the driving responsibilities, whether maybe he tells Coach Gibbs, like, hey, I'm so sorry. I want to just do things on my own terms. Maybe Denny ends up driving one of his own cars for a couple of years. I don't know what all this will look like. There's a ton of different ways I could see this going. But yeah, it's also tough for Coach Gibbs because he had the Carl Edwards moment 2016. And I kind of feel like while Martin Truex Jr., like, he didn't do the surprise retirement thing, I felt like after the way that 2023 went, he was kind of checked out all year last year. And it would be really tough for Joe Gibbs, for JGR, and really even just for the sport overall to have 3 of your top drivers kind of go out like that all of a sudden. So I do think Denny will come back in some way, shape, or form, whether it's full-time next year or not. I know he's under contract to do it. And I'm sure after all the races that he won, he still feels like he can go out and compete and win, but who knows? We'll see. We'll have to wait. I'm going to give him some time. I'm not going to speculate too much. I know we like to do that from time to time, but I'm going to give Denny some space on this one and let him come out and address things in his own time.
Here you have it. I think he's going to race again. I think he'll be back. I do think Denny, it's hard to say, but Denny, all the work he put in, I wouldn't be shocked if he pulls a Carl. Now it'd be funnier to speculate on who to replace, because the argument the best Toyota guy to replace him with is not going to be the guy that they replace him with. But I just, yeah, it just hurts. And, I think format crap is over with. It was a deflating feeling, and both for him, and I want to mention also for Kyle Larson, because it's not like Kyle Larson was not a deserving champion. I feel like we did try our best to convey that message on Sunday. He ended up scoring the most points in the season, ironically. But the 4th best car on a day where you're supposed to be the best car won the championship, if you want to look at the merits of this format. But anyways, that's it for that. Let's wrap up the pod.
It's going to be a drag race all the way back to the start-finish line. No caution. They're side by side, right to the line. Big crash. Here they come. Checkered flag.
The checkered flag is out, and it's time for the final thoughts.
All right, Caleb, for any time other than when a lawsuit wraps up, your final thoughts, which we won't do a checkered flag for that. We won't give final thoughts. Our final thoughts will be about the lawsuit. So, floor is yours.
Trying to figure out, there's a lot of different directions my mind could go with this one. I just think for a season that's had so much talk about format and everything, and even for the last couple of years, there's so many things. Like Jeff Gluck posted his thing on like what's next, where do you go from here, and like all the comments, there's like 5 or 6 different suggestions and everything, and I think the best philosophy to go forward for the next couple of seasons, at least, is something that I've learned in my job with some of the news reporting and stuff, is to keep it simple, stupid. The KISS strategy, and because
Always a good one.
we think of all these different formats, and like I know there's all the talks about this playoffs with a 4-race final round and everything, but that's just a temporary band-aid. That's not gonna that's still going to leave you with this small sample size, and it's going to make people upset. There's plenty of opportunities for things to happen that people would be unset or dissatisfied with the way that would crown a champion. And I think like going back just to the basics, doing what did so well for so many years. And I think like also part of keeping it simple is not going overboard with drastic changes. I know people want everything to go back and change over the like from this year to next year with cars and stages and that sort of thing. I think a lot of the modern things that NASCAR's done can still work in the future. But I think you got to start just one change at a time and kind of start gradually but consistently moving back in an opposite direction from what we've seen the last couple years. But I'm sure there'll be all sorts of think pieces written in the off season, and I like many other people, I'm tired of getting to the end of the season, feeling disappointed and unsatisfied, and being like, well, I don't even know if I'm ready for Daytona now because the season ended, and I'm angry, and everybody is angry, and I don't even know that people even want to watch the start of next season. So, yeah, hopefully by the time February rolls around, I'll be ready to watch some cars go in circles again.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird to have a deflating feeling. I think ultimately the legacy of this format is that it was just icky. Like it gave you too many times you felt icky about the champion. You had 2 this weekend. You had, I mean, and for the idea of it wanted, the idea of this format manufacturing storylines. Well, you look at the storylines that this weekend missed that could have been Jesse Love having the drive, like the best drive of his career, and kind of for the first time in his career, really showing, hey, I can compete at the Cup Series by outdueling Connor Zilich and Eric Almirola. Like, if you throw away, like, that would have been the story of that Phoenix race. And then the epic finish of the Cup race, where Brad Keselowski almost ended this long drought, was a corner, and Ryan Blaney wins it to keep Penske's dominance at that track going. And those both were missed because the focus was on other things. And I think the biggest flaw of this format got shown this weekend. Ultimately, it's the last time. Now, will they pick the right one? I don't know. I think 3-3-4. If that happens, that's a kind of a band-aid. I think the chase is kind of gives you that playoff-like feel, the Game 7-like feel. I watched the Game 7 this past week. It was awesome. But you didn't see the Mariners like throw a pitch out in Game 7 to affect the game against the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. You just can't make racing a stick and ball sport. All right, thanks so much to our sponsor. Once again, do want to shout them out before we get on out of here, and that is the Pit Stop Diecast is proud to sponsor this podcast. The Pit Stop has proudly shipped cars to 48 states and achieved the impossible milestone of selling 20,000 items within just 6 months. The goal is simple: keep the shelves stocked with the diecast you actually want, and ship them out fast, and treat every customer like part of the racing family. Make the Pit Stop Diecast your go-to spot for every car in your collection. Get involved with their live shows on Whatnot as well, Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays. www.whatnot.com/user/the Pit Stop /shows. Shout out to our sponsor, the Pit Stop Diecast. Caleb at Caleb Barnes _. He already mentioned it. You can stay up to date with him on the lawsuit stuff, him and Samuel Stubbs. I appreciate you helping me out all throughout, I guess, the second half of this season. That's when we picked this up. Yeah, we still got fun things coming for the podcast network. We got Front Stretch Awards, which we hope the fans take a part in, help vote. So go at frontstretch.com for that. of course, we will have great awards like.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Trey Lyle asked me to record a video for you guys to present one of the nominees for the Front Stretch Awards, and of course, he wanted me to announce the nominees for Brian Nolan Dumbass of the Year. Now,
yep. So there's that
moment.
That's, Brian Nolan has an award named after him. So get excited for that. We'll also have, yes, folks, we will have what you've been waiting for. We will have, do I still have them? I do. We will have Front Stretch Jeopardy as well.
Get you some help with the spelling this year.
Well, you're going to help me out. So that's your job. All right. For @CalebBarnes_, I'm at Trey Lyle VT. Thanks so much to Massie for the great interview with Noah Gragson. Signing off for now. Goodbye, everybody.
I'm Caleb Barnes with FrontStretch.com. Come back soon for more great racing videos, and if you like us, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.